Hi everyone, nubkeks here, and in today's video, welcome back to Nub Raids, actually first of all. I'm going to give you some tips for how to plan out your fusion, what you're going to be doing each different day of this fusion event for Tatura Rimehide, looking at the calendar, looking at the events, where all these rares are going to come from, where these epics are going to come from, and some sneaky tips and tricks that you can use to do this. So for example, we can actually complete this fusion without doing any of the shard events, which is one of the biggest barriers for free-to-play players, right? Especially new free-to-play players, where you simply don't have a lot of shards to pull. Usually one of the big barriers to the fusion. You are actually going to be able to do it, though, by completely skipping it. Though it's a pretty big investment towards over sort of Christmas week. So we'll see that in a second and what to watch out for. A couple of quick tips before we get there. In fact, 3 tips for this particular screen. Number 1, do be aware that the fusions here actually do have a hefty enough silver cost. So for example, to fuse Tatura himself costs about, I think it's 1 million silver to fuse a legendary. So don't get caught on the last day. You finally get your last epic up and ready and you're like, yes, okay, I'm good to go. And then, oh, 1 million silver and I've got no silver. And you're panicking on the last day. Don't end up in that situation. That's not a good situation. I guess tip number 2 as well is that sometimes you want to delay fusing these legendaries for, like, you could delay it to the very last day so it might overlap with the champion chase event. That's not going to happen this time around, though. We've got a summon rush this weekend. 1 week from now is the champion chase tournament, and then a week after that we're going to be back to summon rush. So you'll be fusing him at the end during a summon rush, so you don't need to worry about it. It is unlikely. You'd have to actually get very lucky with shard pulls to be able to fuse him during the champion chase 1 week from now. But if you pull a whole bunch of shards this weekend and summon rush, if you're like a whale, if you're someone that spends money on the game, then yeah, you could fuse him early and get some extra points for your champion chase too. But for anyone free to play or low spend, that's extremely unlikely. And I'll show you the calendar and how that breaks down. And then, actually 2 tips more. So tip number 3 is that we will be able to fuse at least 2 of these epics during the champion chase tournament, which is part of the fusion. That will give us a whole bunch of extra points to make your champion chase tournament easier. So don't fuse the epics until champion chase comes around. Yeah, then I guess the final tip number 4 is if you do get an extra epic, you can get 2 extra epics from tournaments and events. You might, of course, pull one of the extra epics as well. So if you want to still fuse one so that you've got 2 copies, one goes into the fusion and you keep one for yourself, make sure to fuse them before you fuse Tatura. Because as soon as you fuse Tatura, this whole page goes away and you don't have the opportunity to fuse the epics again. So yeah, just be careful for that. But without any further ado, let's jump in and let's look at a spreadsheet which might be kind of intimidating at first. I've got 2 to show you here. I'll link them in the description down below as well if you want to follow them. I got these off of Reddit and I think the official Discord as well. So yeah, again, huge shout out to the creators. I can't remember who they are actually, but they're linked down below. So you can check them out yourself and they're really, really good resources. This one here is very helpful because what this does is it shows you in like the sequence of where the events are coming and how they're going to overlap. So I think it's a very clear way to see what's happening. The main thing to look at is, I really think, where you're spending your energy and what's going to take up your time in the game. And there's a couple of nasty enough overlaps towards the end, the last few days, so especially if you consider, like, these are Christmas. So you could easily be, have family stuff on, have stuff with your friends, have a ton of real life stuff, could make it very difficult to find time to play. So you want to be prepared in advance to not have to worry about that. So let's start at the start. For example, right here we are, Ice Golem. We actually have 3 whole days of Ice Golem before anything else that takes your energy starts. And this actually overlaps at Dungeon Divers 1. So this is super easy. So I'd highly recommend just take this slow, use your natural energy stuff. You should pretty much be able to finish Ice Golem with just your natural energy and you're doing your quests every day and getting that energy. You shouldn't need to invest gems for free energy, not free. You shouldn't need to spend gems on energy refills for this particular one. You have 3 whole days to do Ice Golems. It's very, very chill. You've even got a 4th day extra if you don't quite make it. So take it slow. You're going to get it done, no problem. And Dungeon Divers 1 is kind of going to flow with that. Then we have Spiders starting off on the 19th of December, which will also help you finish off Dungeon Diver 1. I highly recommend that you finish Ice Golem in these first 3 days. Again, take it slow and steady. Again, work out, divide the amount of points you need by 3. So you can work out what you should be getting per day. Try get it done by the end of the 18th if you can. Then try to get spiders done faster. Try do spiders within 2 days. You might need to spend a few little gems here to get that done. And again, help finish off Dungeon Divers 1. Then we have champion training kicking in. This chunk is where it gets a little bit sketchy, right? Because you've got champion training running for 4 days. And it's actually going to overlap 2 days of dragon. Then we have another champion training starting off, which is going to overlap the last 2 days of dragon. And then there's Fire Nights overlapping that as well. This is where the overlaps come in hard. My recommendation is, again, finish Spider in like 2 days, then really focus on champ training for 2 days. Try get champ training done quickly. Try get it done early, and then be able to dive into dragon as soon as dragon starts. And again, try to get dragon done in the first couple of days so that when Christmas Day comes and you're busy with real life stuff, that you don't need to play. You don't need to worry about it, right? You've got your dragon done, champion training, you've already got that done as well, and you're chilling now, right? And then you can come back in on the 26th or 27th and blast through champ training and Fire Night. This is where you're gonna need gems, guys. Most likely. There's a big chunk of champion training, and it's overlapped with Fire Night, so that's going to be kind of stressful. It doesn't mean you don't need to worry about Dungeon Divers 3. It's going to get done just by doing these 2 events and tournaments. But yeah, there's quite a lot going on there. The last thing you want to end up doing is dragging out this champion training and then only starting dragon on Christmas Day and going, oh crap, I've only got 2 days to finish dragon, and then oh crap, I finished this, and now I've got all of champion training and all of Fire Night to do, and I'm just way behind schedule, and I'm just got to play like crazy and spend gems like crazy at the end. Try to stay ahead of the schedule if you can. It'll make it a lot easier. That would be my advice there. So yeah, staying on top of Spider, champ training 1, and dragon 1, and then the rest will come a bit easier. One other interesting, actually, no, let's go to the next image. There's a lot. Okay, this image is even more complicated, but there's a few key takeaways we can take from it. Don't be too intimidated. I'll explain it. Don't worry. So first of all, you can see these are the 4 epics, and they each need, one of each of the rares to fuse them up. So a couple of interesting things. Interesting thing number 1 is that you can actually get one of the epics from the final champion training event. Now, like I said, that's going to be intense because it's overlapping dragon, it's overlapping Fire Night. It's going to need a ton of points, probably like 12,000, 14,000 points in that champion training event. That is a ton of points. However, if you think that you will be able to do that, if you will have the time to grind out like crazy, and if you have those gems to keep all that energy flowing, that you can do it. You might need 1,000 gems. You might need 2,000 gems. I mean, probably you won't need 2,000 gems. You might need 1,000 gems though to get through this big chunk and try get everything. But if you get this by getting one of the epics, right, it means you can skip both the shard events. You can skip pulling any champions at all, right? Because it means that we can just we don't need four rares. We can skip one of each rare, which means if we look at champion chase. All right, champion chase, which is going to be a 2 times ancients, we can skip this castigator and ordinator. The summon rush, we can skip misery chord, and then you can skip one itinerant as well. So you can choose between Dungeon Divers 1, Spider, and Artifact Enhancement 2. Now, of course, if you looked at the schedule from what I was just talking about, I think these 2 are easy. I'd skip Artifact Enhancement 2, which will save you a ton of silver, and you can use that silver to pump brews into your champions and make champion training easier, which you're probably going to need because this is going to be intense if you want to get this guy. But that is one potential option. So if you do everything else, right, skip the Summon Rush and the Champion Chase, skip Artifact Enhancement 2, and make sure to push all the way through that champ training event, you will get all of the epics that you need. You'll be able to get them all. And yeah, you don't need to use any shards, which could be useful. Now, you'd probably be better off... Probably more likely you'll just sort of go for everything. My approach tends to be I'll just try to do all the events as they come, so that I'm ahead of things. I've got some backups so that I'd just be worried that like this stuff could happen and I'd be too busy doing things with family and I wouldn't be able to make it, and then I'd be like, oh well, I guess I'm just screwed, right? I'm super screwed. I can't finish the fusion, and this is a really good fusion. So I would much prefer to actually do the events and to be on top of things and not to be relying on this. I prefer to treat it as more of a backup. So if you're doing that, you're pretty much trying to do everything, right? You're pretty much trying to do everything. One thing that can help with this champion chase is we can actually get 2 epics easily for this champion chase, right? So Ordinator, Misericord, Castigator, Itinerant. That's one epic just from these, right? Castigator, Itinerant, Misericord, Ordinator. There we go. That's another epic. So we can get 2 epics ready to summon during Champion Chase, ready to fuse during Champion Chase. That's a free 500 points during Champion Chase. That's really going to help you out getting both of these rares out of it, which is really nice. Now, to get a 3rd epic, that's not quite so doable. I mean, you can do it with the epics, with the rares in the Champion Chase, like Itinerant, Misericord, Castigator, Ordinator. You can do it just about in the Champion Chase, but I mean, it's obviously not going to help you get these rares. So it's not going to help you towards the fusion because, I mean, you've already got the rares from the Champion Chase. But the bonus points from summoning that epic during Champion Chase would help you get the further on rewards if that's something that you're going for. But obviously that could be a big challenge, so you don't need to do it. But yeah, I'd advise doing that. You know, the Fire Knight and all this stuff starts way too late. There's no way you're getting that done. There's no way you're going to get it done during Champion Chase. It's just, that's way too much. So I wouldn't worry about that. But yeah, you can easily get 2 epics in Champion Chase and make your time a bit easier. So funny enough, I think when you look at this, it's actually not too bad. So, you know, you can get 2 visionaries. You could get a visionary here in Summon Rush. Might be worth it. I don't know. I personally don't think it's worth it. But unless the other rewards are good and you've got lots of shards stockpiled up, or if you're, you know, a spender, if you spend a lot of money in the game, then definitely you could go for it. I think Visionary's decent. And they obviously consider Visionary Masamoto to be the 2 best epics. So yeah, it's sort of up to you. I think Masamoto will help with Faction Wars. They'll both help with Faction Wars. I don't think that either are probably that exceptional, so I wouldn't be too pushed to get these extra if you don't need to. But yeah, I think that it does look pretty doable. Again, for me, it's just that stuff near the end that's the scary bit, right? It's just the overlaps of these events near the end is where it gets intense. So considering the days that are in it, yeah, it could be tough. But there you are. Let me know what you think. How are you thinking about this fusion? I think the fusion champion, he looks absolutely fantastic. Tatura Rimehide, he is brilliant. Really good champion. Well worth getting. He's super good. And I think the fusion, it's very doable for sure. It does not look too bad. Of course, we'll have to see what the points are. They could have really high points requirements for all of these, and they could actually be a really big grind. It could be tough. The Ice Golem points are pretty high, though we do have super raids, so sort of cancels it out. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But there were some tips, some advice, and yeah, just my advice for how to approach those different events. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know if any of that was helpful or if you've got any tips yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.